And yes, this is the H.M.H.S Britannic. This is one of the sister ships to the RMS Titanic. There was Titanic, Olympic, and Britannic. Britannic was originally intended to be a passenger liner, just like the Titanic and Olympic, but due to World War One happening at the exact time that she was launched, she was instead launched immediately as a hospital ship. And like Titanic, she also sank. Different circumstances. The Titanic sank because of an iceberg. Britannic sank because of a mine, bumping into an underwater mine. Because again, wartime, and Titanic sank within 2 hours or so, and Britannic sank in just under an hour, at right around 50 to 55 minutes. Of course, Britannic had more survivors than Titanic because Britannic was made after what happened with Titanic. The White Star Line and the Board of Trade realized, oh, we need lifeboats, more lifeboats. We need a better, easier way to lower them from the davits. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a mine right around where I believe was where the Britannic was struck. It's right around here on the bow. And because the game has so many options and tools, I'm going to take this hammer. I'm going to whack the mine. And we're going to see what happens and see if it's accurate to how the ship actually sank or if it's just a fun way of sinking a ship. So this is floating sandbox, and I'm trying to see how good these simulations are to these particular iconic ships like Britannic and Titanic. I can't test Olympic. Well, I could test Olympic in a theoretical sense because I'm sure she's in the game, but the Olympic didn't sink. She served her purpose, and then she was eventually just taken apart and made into scrap metal. But here we go. Let's hit this bomb. Okay, first point. I don't believe that the bomb, when it hit the ship and the ship hit it, sent the bow swinging into the air like that. So I believe that's just the mechanic of the game because I don't believe the Britannic actually went. Boom. Oh, but she is a sinking. She is going down by the head. Although that didn't happen. One of the funnels did not detach from the ship because of the explosion. But we got one watertight compartment flooded, and we're starting the footing into a second one. Can we calm down now? You don't need to keep swinging up in the air. You're a sinking ship, not a basketball. Come on, settle down and just go down by the head. Yeah, just forgive me if I'm not too energetic in this video. I have a sore back. think I pulled a muscle in my back and it hurts a lot. And also, I'm a bit of a nautical fanatic when it comes to the Titanic, Olympic, and the Britannic ships. And you could also argue the Lusitania. So I'm just trying to see how good, how accurate this is. We have we settled down so we can start a proper sinking. Please. I mean, it's a free game on Game Jolt, so I'm not expecting top class like the upcoming game Titanic Honor and Glory. I'm not expecting that quality from a simulation sandbox game on Game Jolt, being a free game you can download. Okay, we got some water going into the two other compartments on the sides of the main compartment that's flooding. Okay, are we sinking? We should be. I know it took 55 minutes, but she didn't wobble around like she was made of jelly for those 55 minutes. She went down like a typical sinking ship that would have had a hole blown into her hull. Come on, just let the bow go down. If I need to, I'll help it along. There. Help her along by cutting into that to a second compartment, allowing more water to come into it. Now the third compartment is starting to finally flood a little bit more, and now we have two fully flooded compartments, which I think are finally going above E deck because they're spilling above the water line now. And I don't recall offhand how many compartments the Britannic was secured for. I know Titanic was secured for 4, potentially 5 if she didn't flood too much. But we all know how that happened, and she flooded in too many compartments. Okay, now we're getting our fourth compartment flooding, as I believe they're finally starting to spill over the bulkheads. Because these two compartments are flooding too much for any watertight compartment doors to hold back any flooding. I think we're finally going down. Me hopes, me praise. And again, we're seeing this at just under 11 frames per second. But honestly, for this kind of game and for my internet connection, and for the fact that I'm recording this on Zoom, it's actually not too bad. It's actually running kind of smooth. All things considered, I had expected this thing to have barely any frames per second uh, offhand. Okay, now we're getting our fifth compartment, itchy lip. I do believe we are finally going down. The bow is starting to get a bit lower. The stern appears to be rising because I don't believe that pot's supposed to be sticking out that far from a ship that is not sinking. Oh, yes, because all these 5 compartments are now flooded. A lot. I think this one here still got somewhere to go, but we are flooding. Yes, we are going down. The propellers are starting to stick up. And the thing about the sinking of the Britannic was the ship never turned off when it was sinking because they were such shallow waters that the captain thought, well, we can make it to shore. We can make it to that little beach. We can beach this son of a bit. We can beach this bitch. So he kept on going. The ship just kept on going as it was flooding until he realized, oh, she can't go anymore. But they didn't shut the engines off. So as it's sinking and the propellers are coming up, they're still spinning, and they're lowering lifeboats. And some of the lifeboats are being pulled towards the propellers, and the propellers did make contact with several lifeboats, and that's where a lot of the deaths happened, was from the people in the lifeboats that got and the propellers. That was poor thinking on the captain's part, but I mean, they were in technically shallow waters. I mean, the Britannic sank in the waters to the bottom of the seafloor, where she's right where you can still go as a typical diver with just diving equipment. You don't need a submarine to safely go down to see the Britannic wreck because it's in such shallow waters, uncompared to Titanic, which I think is like 12,000 feet down. The Britannic, I think, is about 1,000 or so feet down. If that, I just know she's in shallow waters because that was why he attempted to beach the ship until realizing eventually that especially by this point, oh, we're not going to make the water's coming over the bow. It's getting onto the deck. We're not going to be able to beach this thing. We're not going to make it to the island in time. But I think she was just off Greece. I think it was Greece. History's a little foggy with Britannic, but I just know the basics about Britannic. And I haven't really studied this ship in a long time because my main focus, if you watch my videos, are all about Titanic when I talk about ships. I almost never talk about the Olympic, unless I'm referring to Titanic, but then she gets brought up because of Titanic. Testing the sound because I want to see if the bell still works. The bell still works, Captain. She's all right. Walk on. Captain, the Falcon doesn't work. We're screwed. We're fucked. The water's coming to get us. Oh yes, the bow is definitely going down now. The crow's nest is getting ready to get it. And there's our propellers. Around this time is where the boats that were being lowered were going towards the propellers. As again, unfortunately, they weren't turned off. And another thing, unlike Titanic, Britannic did not break apart during the sinking. She sank in one piece, albeit with the hole in her hull from what caused her to sink. But aside from that hole in the bow, she sank in one piece. No breaking in half like Titanic. And so if you go down to see, if you look at pictures of the wreck, or if you were to go down there and see the wreck yourself, more or less it's in one piece, albeit on her side, because she did kind of list and cat sink like this, and she sank on the seafloor on her side. Unlike Titanic, which is upright, just broken in half, and the stern is completely obliterated. But Britannic sank in one piece and on her side. So you're going to be getting a side profile view of the ship. And I know what you're thinking, it's taking too long, so we need to speed this up. And no, historically inaccurate. There was not a madman with a chainsaw going to town on the bottom of the ship. Really, just we can speed it up. People watching this video. But the people are already tired of seeing my face and hearing me talk, or this thing slowly sank. And I believe she's going in for the final plunge. And of course, unlike in reality, I don't think she's going to land on her side. I think she's just going to go down like Titanic did, except without the breaking in half part. And we're just going to assume that we lowered lifeboats, because I don't think that's an option in this game to actually do that. Does the bell still work? The bell does not work. She's fucked. The ship is dead. That fish better get out of the way before the ship crushes it. Yes, this is the final plunge. You would think my arm would be tired by now. This is the world's longest fucking salute. I just said I'm dedicated. The ship's going down. She's a historical ship. I'm very dedicated to this, so I'm going to salute until she hits the water all the way. Almost. Almost there. She's teasing me now. Teasing me. There she goes. There goes the lovely Britannic. And yes, there is a seafloor. Just gotta go out, but there is a seafloor. You see how far she has to go.